And welcome back to Retrospect My Fantasy. We're currently taking a look at the Final Fantasy franchise from beginning to end, and we're working on number 12. Hey, Mr. Henry. Um, Sorry, I'm a couple minutes late. I was stuffing my face and put a bit too much food on my plate. So, sorry about that. So yesterday we did a whole lot of pushing forward, but there wasn't really a whole lot of story. Most of the story actually came from Balthier when we got to this little hunter's copse. Actually, it's not a copse, because it's not in a forest. Gathering? Yeah, a little hunter's gathering spot, where it turns out that Balthier used to be his judge. His dad is Dr. Sid, and he knows all about Nethicite, and he is absolutely terrified of it. Because of what he saw it do to his father. That was pretty much all the story that we got. Now, today is mostly going to be grinding, because we are woefully under-equipped for where we are at. And I'm not gonna lie, that's pretty much entirely my fault. Seeing as how A, I'm the one playing, and B, I'm the one that's been pushing the pace. I'm willing to take the blame on that. So we're actually gonna go back a couple of zones. Is the Silica Wood good enough? I don't think it is. I think we need to push... Yeah, we'll just run there. We can fight the wolves in this area, but the birds and most of the other enemies are a bit beyond us. Hey there, Mr. Little Onion guys. Mandraga. Nice. Hey, yep, I'm leaving. Have fun with that. I'm gonna kill these dogs. Because I can. Because they're about the only thing I can kill around here. Ooh. Maybe I... Was he just about to suggest maybe we do grind here? Report stones. Whoa, what was that audio glitch about? That was a little strange. So how are you guys doing tonight? Also, this bow, freaking ridiculous. Just look at it. In fact, I'm willing to go so far as to say it's dumb as hell. But, you know, that's just me. Where? There's our map. Alright, so let us try not to get ourselves killed. Did we lose the birds? We did. Okay. Come on, guys. You got this. Vaughn. I mean, you've grown on me a little bit, kid, but I still don't think you're weeb enough to be wielding that sword underhanded. I don't even think I'm weeb enough for that. Although, to be fair to my level of weebness, I haven't watched a whole lot of anime in a number of years, so... Although, I did buy a tatami mat and traditional futon, so maybe that bumps that back up a few notches. Measuring someone's level of weeb is kind of difficult. Alright, Penelo, we get it. I set you up as a healer, and now you're punishing me for it. It's okay, though. I mean, so far at least, you're a very good healer. Definitely the best one we have. And once you've mastered archery, then we can move you over into being a white mage, and then you'll really excel. Come on, get the wolf. Thank you. The reason we're going to go back is because a couple areas back we have the wolves that drop the wolf throat blood, and that is worth a lot of money. And drops, I mean, not regularly, but with a greater degree of regularity than it probably should, to be perfectly blunt. So we're going to go kill a whole bunch of those wolves and collect a whole bunch of their throat blood, and then we will hopefully make enough money to equip our characters with the armor that we need and weapons. I mean, we still need more weapons to actually compete in this zone, because right now we deal the damage that we need to be dealing. The problem is we can't take really any hits. It's pretty bad, and considering there's another T-Rex creature here, it could get real bad. Real bad. Oh, the Moogles. Did they go back to their bungalows to hang out and... What do Moogles do in their spare time? I mean, we saw a lot of them in 9, like, hanging out. Some of them watched plays, they wrote letters, they hid. They're really good at hiding, actually. They got into little tiny jams, like getting a bell dropped on one. I mean, like, not, like, hurting it, just, like, right above it. So it got trapped. It actually kind of seemed like they were beneath most people's notice in 9. So they just weren't really paid attention to. Except for, of course, Stetson. But that's because he was a traveling Moogle. And that made him special. Of note, if you really want to grind in this first area, there are Marlborough Kings, and the Marlborough fruit is worth a pretty penny. And there's these guys which can drop succulent fruit, which is also worth a fair amount of money. But I'm pretty sure we can get more effective amount of money by doing the wolves in a shorter time frame. I think it'll be much better use of our time. And if we run into other stuff here, aside from that that elemental, we can fight and kill it. Very important. By comparison to, I mean, the Silica Woods, we could also do that, but... Just... Alright, just... Fight. Kamikaze, huh? That sucks. Come on, Pinello. Also, our team needs a lot more levels. Primarily in the MP department. If only... That's one thing I did like about the sphere grid as opposed to the license grid. Is if you really needed a specific thing, like if you really needed HP or MP, you could get it without having... Like, leveling up was still ultimately better, but if you really needed a thing, you could just get it. It wasn't a big deal to seek it out. Come on. I wish we were in an area where I could see the action. Because just staring at Pinello here firing her bow every once in a while is not exactly what I would call riveting. Hey there, Mr. Werewolf. Hopefully I can pull you. Nope, nope, nope. Balthier, you piece of... God damn it, Balthier. If it weren't for the fact that you're wielding that sword, I would be very upset with you. But right now I think you're the only person on my team that can. Actually, once we can afford all this stuff here, I think we can go to the cave of really, really difficult enemies in the... that connects the Easter Sands, Wester Sands, and where's this other chest? Oh. Weathered Rocks. Hey, look at that. We did a thing. A thing that I didn't even remember we could do, we did. They work in a very similar way. The biggest difference between the two... Oh... is the sphere grid was... The sphere grid was more linear, but had more, but was more important to the character's development than levels, where the license grid is roughly equally important to character development, but doesn't have... It's a lot more open. So, like, you can get attack power and magic power on the license grid, but you can't get hit points or MP. But it's how you get all your weapons. So that's, in a way, even more critical. They are definitely very similar. And an easy comparison of the two is... comes in essentially two categories: the overarching, like I was doing, or if you want to get into the nitty gritty, the license grid is overall better because you are less reliant upon it. So, high potions and Phoenix Downs, I don't really need those right now. Because even without it, you can level up your characters. Obviously, without gaining a whole bunch of equipment, they're not going to be as good, but well, I can get 2 of these, and they would be best suited on Balthier and Vaughn. Yes, the Silica Gate is fixed. Also, I bet I can knock this over. Doesn't that Jolly boulder look like it's about to topple? If one were to push it from the other side, avalanche. No, not avalanche. I would need to do some chocoboing to get over there. That's not something that I really care about today. We got a lot of money to make. Killing these guys over and over and over again. I mean, not just these, like, 3 that are right here. Drop of throat wolf blood. That's what we want. We need, like, I don't know, 30, 40 of those. Ooh, an alpha. Oh, a werewolf. A rare one. Please. Damn it. Well, how about we bring in Bosch then? Oh. Duh. Come on. Kill the werewolf. There we go. 8! Oh, that was worth way more LP than I would have expected. Most Final Fantasies actually have a 2 experience system. Usually the AP goes towards a job, or in some games it goes towards your summons. So nice to have those consistent motes right there. So that takes us straight to the Easter Sand. Ooh, hey, a werewolf came with us. Or whatever they're called in this zone. I don't think it's werewolves. Hey, Pinello, you really need a lot of MP. Because we are messed up. Fortunately, these enemies don't hit that hard. Unfortunately, Vaughn is more consistent with hitting himself when confused. Because if he really wanted to, he could wreck this party. Alright, good job, Balthier. Ooh, and a potion. I mean, I know if I really wanted to, I could just, you know, use an ether and be okay, but you're pretty new here, Ro, so I'm going to let you in on a little secret. I'm a hoarder in Final Fantasy games. I don't use items unless there's no other way to achieve what I want. I buy them. Oh, I buy them. I usually end the games with, 99 of every item. Let's see if we can skirt past the Rex. Apparently not. Alright, Rex is gone. Kill more of the Worgen. Which is primarily why I use Pinello so much in this playthrough. Because without being a white mage, she has access... Ooh, a Viking coat. That sounds awesome. To Raise. And Kira. Two of the most important spells in the game. Oh, I can't get to that guy from here. More wolves. And coffee. Gotta have that coffee. Good work, Balthier. You fought admirably. Woohoo! Chain up to 21. I like where this is going. Let's build that item chain. Let's get... Game, are you just giving me nice armor because you pity me? A dragon shield and a Viking coat? I mean, I don't think I have anyone that can actually use those yet, but come on, game. I'm not doing that bad, Amp. Alright, Mr. Rex. I would hope you don't come after me. Apparently... Wow, you go far. Man, that Rex... He wasn't joking around. The only real downside to what we're doing here is until we have enough, or what we think is enough, we can't really go back to town of any variety. We can't use a save crystal because that'll reset all of our multiplier, our chain. And granted, our chain right now is not very high. Oh, someone's getting it. It was me. I got wrecked. Quality pill. Come on, drop throat wolf blood. Wolf throat blood. Or is the quality pelt technically a higher quality item? A leaper gem. Hey, there we go. We got a couple. Tonight we're in it for the money. Once we have... I was thinking like 30 or 40, but we could probably get away with significantly loot less. If we can get up to like 20 throat wolf blood, we'll probably be set for now. I mean, this cycle never really ends. If you're not grinding for money, or grinding for LP, or if you're maybe a little bit of XP. Fortunately, we can kind of combine a lot of those because we're in an area where the enemies are giving... I mean, most enemies drop 1 LP regardless. Woohoo. But we're fighting enemies that can drop items that sell well. We're getting the standard amount of LP, and they're strong enough that we're getting, you know, reasonable XP. I'm not gonna lie, it's not great or anything, but it's fine. It's fine. A few hundred XP is fine. It's really not fine. We really want more in the like 600 to 700 range if we were just straight leveling. But it's okay. Everything is fine. Tonight we're grinding for money. So that's all that matters, right? And I mean, the money from the treasure, you know, it doesn't hurt, but it's so minuscule that it's pretty much non-existent. Apparently this area is large enough that we can start respawning the enemies in a fairly quick fashion, which is really nice. Look at that, they just keep coming back. Where do these wolves keep coming from? Unfortunately, the chaining of wolf genocide in the Easter Sands does not like do anything to the environment or the ecosystem or anything like that, fortunately. And just as fortunate, the murder of these animals, sometimes being so far apart, does not break our chain. Yeah, I'm kind of tempted to put this on 4 times, but 4 times is so frantic that I don't know. Also, we don't seem to be gaining very many throat bloods anymore. Although we have lots of fire magicite. Which, I mean, that sells, that's not nothing. But it's not really what we want. Oh, that guy? Yeah. I mean, he's not so bad. He's actually quite nice. Oh, from the 4 times? Oh god, yeah. No, 4 times is way unruly. It's also difficult to respond to anything, so if there's something, like if you're, for instance, grinding, and you suddenly need to stop and do something else mid-combat, like heal poison or something like that, like 8 rounds will go by the time you finally take care of that poison. Although it looks ridiculous. And is, in its own way, quite comedic. It's almost like, should be running Benny Hill in the background. So what are we at? We're almost at 60 chain? That's pretty good for mostly fighting just in one area. Although the pups aren't respawning as quickly now. Maybe we should go to a different zone. We're also not... How many were we up to? Not enough. That's how many. Yeah, up to 7. We were at 5 and what, 10 minutes ago? And how many wolves have we killed since then? The best part about the 4 times is that it doesn't actually change your clock speed. So you can get all the grinding and stuff in without actually, like, ticking your clock up ridiculously. Hey, there we go. Maybe we just needed a slight change of scenery to really get that blood flowing again. Yeah. But now we're up to 8. 8. And there's another Rex. That's fine. He's fine over there. We don't need to worry about him. And in all honesty, we don't, aside from ruining our chain. Ooh, a Bengal. I guess it was tired of giving freebies. I don't blame it. Come on, yeah. Oh. Dang it. Let's go back and get that. I don't want to miss that this time. I also almost missed that. Wow, I'm really shirking on my treasure chores there. I mean, there could be anything in that treasure urn. But it's just a little bit of money. Okay. But I wouldn't have known if I didn't go and check. I would have been wondering. It would have weighed on me deep into the night. Woke covered in sweat from the nightmares of what it could possibly have been. Tears streaming down my face. Hey, now we're up to 9. We might just actually go back regardless because we're gonna stop getting actually like picking up any exactly. We're probably gonna go back anyway just because we're gonna pretty soon here stop being able to pick up any of the fire magicite, which although is not a huge item, like we're not really worried about collecting fire magicite. I don't really want to like, you know, lose out on it. And the quality pelts don't sell for... it's not like they're bad. They're just not wolf throat blood. Which, by the way, we're only collecting a drop of? We really need to learn how to, like, properly harvest these animals. Because when we kill them, there's probably a lot of blood. And we're only taking a drop. Because apparently we're idiots. I think I've only purchased a couple of the grimoires. Maybe I should pick the rest of those up over the weekend. Or maybe tonight. We'll see. We'll see where we get. Maybe I'll end up with enough money to do all the equipping that we need, plus get the grimoires. I mean, I know it's not likely, but it could happen. Nope, not gonna fight with an elemental nearby. I am not that dumb. Well, we got quite a few. Let's see here. How much money do we have? Yeah, we've only got about 3. So worth it. Yeah, 14 pelts. Not bad. Yeah, we'll pick another one of those up for Pinello. Black garb, eh? It's kind of weird that samurais get the mage outfit, the black mage stuff, but whatever. Bone mail, eh? Half damage, but weak against holy. Yeah, sure, why not? Lady Ashe is now a Dark Wraith from Dark Souls. Okay, well. Weather and terrain effects on elemental damage. That's kind of nice. No, don't care. Yeah, we'll take that. More spells? Hell yeah. Even though most of these our people can't use. Alright, hey man, if we can get another run like that, we'll be set. That's not entirely true, but we'll be well off, and I will gladly take it. Hey, look at that. There's another wolf right here. I also don't like the fact that even though they split the... in this version, the remake, they split the license grid into job classes. The fact that they're not, though. I mean, they split the license grid up, but it didn't change anything. It's still the same license grid. And it's still in the same... Hey, thanks, Ro, for the follow. I greatly appreciate that, man. That puts us one step closer towards our bonus stream and giveaway, which I will elaborate more on at the end. But thank you very much. Whoa. But the license grid, like, they didn't change anything. Everything's still more or less in the same positions. You can still get... Like, I don't know how many of them we can get... Oh. Does he not have a weapon? Why does he not have a weapon? Vaughn? Oh, that's right, because he was wearing an Ashura before. He was using an Ashura before. Yeah, we'll go back to that. Strength will go down 1. Vitality will go down a few points. And that kind of sucks, but... Wow, that Diamond Helm over the Bone Helm is huge difference in stats. Alright. for some reason, ninja swords take 2 hands, even though he only wields them upside down and one-handed. Now, if you want to argue the fact that it doesn't actually take 2 hands, but you need your other hand free for, like, proper balancing and whatnot, can't have a giant... You hunk of junk. You better drop some... Didn't even drop anything good! Oh, hey. Oh, yeah. This part. The part about the game that I was kind of complaining about. So, because we can pick a second board, like, how many of these additional boards can we get? Can we get them all? Are we limited to only 2 classes? Because that would make things interesting. But if we can just get all the stats for everybody, then it doesn't actually change anything from what it was before. And that was kind of the point about splitting this up, was that it actually changed your character growth. They can only get 2 classes. Oh, thank goodness. Because they don't actually say how many boards you can end up getting. They just say, when you pick this, you get an additional board in the tutorial when it opens up. Okay. Thank goodness. Alright. Crisis averted. And how you doing, Reaper? So, in that case, I applaud what they did. Only 2 classes? Good job. That actually adds weight to it. As opposed to not actually changing a goddamn thing. Which, I love Square, but they don't... How should I put this delicately? They don't always put their money where their mouth is. They always talk a big game, and they usually deliver, but not always. Especially on small promises like that. That's usually where they fall flat on. The big promises, like the updated graphics, the better animations, the better character models, better textures, that graphical stuff especially, they can deliver on any day of the week. It's Square. There are a few game companies that put out a product that looks as good as any Square product. And I would challenge most, like, show me that what product is better, and I'll concede, but until I see it with my own eyes... But no, if they actually only limited it to 2, that's perfect. Hell, I would have taken 3. If they'd limited it to 3, I've been like, well, damn, I mean, that sucks. You can get most everything, but... I also kind of like how these look. Like, the archer, it looks like kind of like a bow and arrow. The Ulin looks kind of like a shield, because it's supposed to be kind of like a phalanx sort of fighter. The knight, I'm not really sure what that's supposed to be. The samurai, it's got kind of this, as much as they could make a diagonal line for like kind of a curved blade. The machinist, I'm assuming that's supposed to be some sort of like a gear or something. And then the thief, I don't know what that's supposed to be. I'm not even going to speculate. Nope, this way. So we need about 9 or 10 more Wolf's Throat blood. And then we'll see where we're at. Hopefully that won't take us very long, and then we can keep going forward and grind into a new area that is completely different and has... See, that T-Rex didn't even hurt that bad. If I could navigate, it would be even less painful. So the reason I like the changes to this, in terms of the license grid, is because it makes your choices meaningful. Yes, that is definitely true, but the change to the license grid makes your class choices meaningful, unlike pretty much every Final Fantasy that had like job classes. Oh, you guys got a little close to the trap. If you like Final Fantasy V, the best example of the job classes. At the end of the game, well, if you took the time to do so, at the end of the game, everybody was exactly the same. I mean, they're wicked powerful, don't get me wrong. And there's something awesome just in that. But they're identical. Same thing with Final Fantasy X. I actually have a file on my PS2 where every character is perfect. They all have maximum stats. They all can do everything. There is no difference in any of the characters. Now, I never got to that extreme in 12, because until now I never owned it. I played the hell out of it. No, that's not true. Several years ago I bought it. Was it fun? Because to me, that's all that matters. In terms of, like, actual your playthrough. As long as you enjoy the game, who gives a shit what anybody else thinks? The only reason I'm critiquing it in terms of, like, you making your choices matters because I have assigned that duty to myself to critique the games that we're going to play on this. See? F it then. It doesn't really matter what I say about this game or any other game that we play. Like, I badmouthed 8 the entire time. But if you love 8, go for it, man. All the more power. Oh, was it unpredictable? I mean, that's kind of awesome in its own way. The whole point with the job classes was not, at least in my opinion, I have no like interviews or anything to really back this up, but in my opinion, the whole point of the job systems was to offer the type of customization that you would really get out of a pen and paper game. To these kind of linear video games, and that's awesome. The problem comes in when people, myself included, are part of the problem. When you love a game a whole lot, you like to play it, right? Well, eventually, if you play the same game over and over, your characters in the types of games where customization is kind of a key, your party all ends up homogenous unless you actively try not to, like, keep everybody out of everybody else's business, don't move into anybody else's section of the grid, but then you're also hindering yourself in terms of like certain armors and weapons and like, because of the choices I've made, I'm only going to have one person be able to wield the Zodiac Spear. And that's going to be Princess Ash. I mean, I haven't chosen anyone's second class, like, definitively, but I've talked about what I want to do, and probably going to do it that way. My plan is to put Pinello into White Mage, and I'm thinking about putting Vaughn in Monk. Or maybe Time Mage, I'm not sure. I also might put both Thea into Time Mage, so, like, I've got ideas, but I'm not really sure exactly where I'm going to put these characters next. But it'll be fun, it'll be awesome. I most especially want to kind of try and keep characters away from classes that kind of overlap. That way they get a broader breadth. I was thinking about putting Bosch into Hammers and Axes to keep kind of going with his knightly theme. I also thought about doing something a bit more classic and just, although I've already ruined that idea, of giving all the summons to one person and making them... In this case, it probably would have been Pinello, the classic White Mage summoner. That doesn't really do a whole lot during combat until shit goes down, and then they bring a summon onto the battlefield and ruin everybody's day. Probably not. I've got two, and I think I know where a third one is. I want to say you get 3 of them mandatorily, right? And then the other 3 are optional? Because there's only 6, right? There's 1 for each character, if you so chose. And they all kind of represent one character loosely. More than 6? Okay. Then maybe I never got them all. I definitely remember one of my playthroughs, everybody having 1. But I don't remember how many of them I got. Instead of making Pinello a white mage, maybe I'll make her a red mage. That way she gets more white magic than she currently has access to, and some black too. There's 13. I'd have to go back and look at my old saves, but I don't think I ever had 13. Shit, then I missed out on a lot. Woo, 45. And how many of those Thrill Bloods do we have? Not enough? 4. Yeah, definitely not enough. Oh, there's 5. Maybe that's the trick. Every time I think I have enough, just look, and haven't had any in a while, just look it up and get another one. I... The name Zodiark does not sound familiar. So, probably no. I also never successfully got the second Zodiac Spear by not picking up certain chests. I tried once, and I got about halfway through the game before I got one by accident. And I'm just like, well, F it. Screw this. Alright, maybe it's time to go back and check these other areas for more wolvies. That was actually one of the things I was most excited about, is they got rid of that thing. I knew about it because of my friends bought... The friends that I initially lived with who bought this game, they bought the strategy guide. And they were telling me that it was absolutely necessary to play with the strategy guide. The Zodiac Spear, it's the highest damage weapon in the game. That's it. And they told me that you had to play with the strategy guide, because otherwise you couldn't get the best weapon in the game. Which is not true. You get one. But if you want two... Whew. And yes, really annoying. Really? Is he gonna chase my ass all the way down here? Well, on one lucky side of things, we're gonna have all the files of Nukai sand we could possibly want. Maybe I should sell some of those. They're probably worth something, right? Yeah, there's nothing special about the Zodiac Spear other than its damage value, which is like 50 or 60 more than the next highest weapon. So it's really strong. At least I don't recall anything else. Ooh, Chronos tier. Also, I don't know if you guys... Yeah. So, I don't know if you guys have seen recently, but Chrono Trigger hit Steam. Yesterday, in fact. And apparently, it's a port of the mobile version, including its overlay. According to many of the reviews that I read, which is really disappointing. It has the animated cutscenes done by Akira Toriyama's team for the PlayStation release, but... Yeah. I'm severely disappointed. I mean, it's still Chrono Trigger. They'll never take that away, but it's got a clunky-looking UI, and it's got this weird filter over everything. It's just not worth it this time around. If you want to pick it up with the animated cutscenes without having the load times from the PlayStation version, buy it on the 3DS. That's my financial advice of the day. Also, if you're differently though, if you're into fighting games, you should head on over to Humble, because there's a big old Humble bundle of fighting games right now. There's a Blaze Blue, a Street Fighter, Skullgirls, Guilty Gear. I mean, some pretty serious fighters. And if you scroll down just below the stream, you'll see my Humble link. And if you follow that, not only will you get yourself some awesome games, but you'll also support charity and the stream. The only reason I bring that up is because, well, as soon as my paycheck comes on Friday, I'm buying that. I'm not like any good at fighting games. In fact, I'm quite bad. But I love the Blaze Blue and Guilty Gear games. And Street Fighter, it's fun. But generally speaking, not my thing. Is everything else away from us? Alright. Come on, wolvies. More throat blood. Well, some more quality pelts. It's not nothing. 5 quality pelts, 7 throat bloods. We might be able to finish our equipping ourselves for this area and then move into the area where we're actually at. And start doing some... being able to take some hits over there. That'd be nice. Not having to worry about every enemy that attacks you. Okay. Well, we don't have a monk. We don't have anyone using maces. Platinum sword is not good enough, apparently. Got the lock sleeve blow. We already got that. Most items on Humble are PC gaming. Although every once in a while they'll do like comic books, and some console stuff. Although the console stuff is probably the rarest thing on Humble. Nice, man. No, I don't care about your theory. If you are ever interested, if you follow this side quest, I don't remember what it gets you, but I remember it's kind of interesting. Alright, so yeah, we're about as well equipped as we can reasonably be for where we are. So I guess it's time to push forward a little bit and see if we can't survive in the not the Silica Woods. God, why do I keep forgetting the name of the area past the Silica Woods? Or sorry, Silica? I can't remember how Fawn pronounced it. I recommend... I don't... So, I used to be consoles only, personally. For the longest time, I didn't even own a computer. And then the guys at the house that I live in got me into TF2. But I still didn't own a computer. Not, like, really own a computer of my own. I had a pretty basic computer. But it couldn't do anything, really. So I was playing on housemate Ryan's, who's joined us for our 24-hour streams to help me out so I can take a break and get real food in me. And so I used to play a whole lot of TF2 on his computer. And then, about 6 or 7 years ago, I started upgrading a pre-bought computer that I got from Office Depot. And then we played a lot of Killing Floor on that. Like, Killing Floor 1 was our game. We would play it... Alright, you guys are worthless right here. Can I get... Nope. I just want to get Fran in because she has an attack for flying enemies specifically. And you guys don't have telekinesis. So... Oh, I guess they're just going to kill themselves. It's kind of a weird attack for birds, by the way. But whatever. But we would play Killing Floor. It started off every night of the week, but then we moved it to Thursdays. And we would play Killing Floor from about 7 p.m. till about 2 or 3 a.m. And then we would get into a car and go to Jack in the Box. All get, a bunch of crappy food and come back to the house. Most of these are pretty slim in terms of... 15 is going to come out in 2 days, and that's going to be the heaviest hitting one. Because it's going to be able to reach 4K. But let's see here. This is not going to show up, but I can... pull up my web browser here. Sorry about this. Final Fantasy 12 specs. So you'd want like an i5 processor, 8 gigs of RAM, and a reasonable video card. Doesn't take a... 12 is not that heavy. 15... Yeah, 15 comes out on PC Friday, I want to say. I've already pre-purchased it for the stream. But yeah, I want to say it comes out on Friday. And it's going to be really heavy. It's going to be able to do 4K, and it's going to be punchy. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to play it on full. Like, this is on ultra, whatever the highest settings is possible. I'm not sure I'll be able to do that with 15. And my computer's older at this point. It's 5 years old. And I didn't buy top-of-the-line parts when I built it. I bought the, like, one notch down from top of the line because that is how you economically build a gaming computer. And obviously, I mean, it works great, aside from a hard drive failure and the pump on my liquid cooling going out. But the processor still runs great. Video card's still fine. I've upgraded the RAM once since I initially built it. And it runs this on its highest settings. 15, we're probably going to have to drop it down a little bit, but that's fine. Ooh. Is there a save point before... Yes, there is a save point before the Necro Hall. We're going to try our hand at the Necro Hall, which is a fairly high-level area of the game. But with a little judicious usage of our skills and time, we should be not miserable there. I hope. At the very least, it'll be entertaining. Yeah, I don't... But what I was saying is, like, I didn't... My last console that I bought was a PS3, and I bought that at the end of the life cycle of the PS3. Before that, it was a PlayStation... No, I had a 360, but we didn't really use that to play many games. That was mostly... That's not true. We were going to go to the Fawn Coast, but then I remember the Necro Hall. And we'll probably die. Which is why I... Oh shit, did I save? Now I'm second guessing myself. If we can do halfway decent at the Necro Hall and not immediately die, then we will push into that, because that's an optional area with a lot of awesome stuff in it. Or so I recall. If we die immediately, well then we'll just load up the save and continue on to the Fawn Coast. Okay, I did save. And knowing what from what I recall, we'll probably die pretty quickly in the Necro Hall. Or we'll have to run away through that massive shithole of traps that's right at the entrance. Because that's real fun. How you know you're not supposed to be in an area? It's covered in traps. Also, I don't like these goblins. Are they supposed to be goblins? I mean, they're not called goblins, but that's what they're supposed to be, right? Oh, that's right. Float get... I know someone else has said that much earlier. That's right. Float gets you off of the ground and thus you don't trip traps. I don't know. Let's find out if I have any. Because that is otherwise horrible. Hey, look at that. Hey, guys. Hey, look at that.
Not your best.
Yep.
I have failed.
Okay. Didn't even have enough time to pull up the map. We'll just die. It's easier.
It cannot end us.
Yeah, so... Don't go into the Necro Hall until you can survive that. Wrong save. But this should be right inside the doorway. Yep, we're leaving. Sorry about that. One of the cats in the area was yowling. Yeah, I knew it was a higher level area. I was hoping, you know, we might be able to kill, like, one or two of the guys in there. And I guess maybe we... No, because we weren't even scratching them. Yeah. No. Ooh, a king! Thank you, good sir. Ooh, another king! We'll just assassinate all the kings. Wow, Vaughn. Come on, man. Really? Were you stuck behind me? Alright, it's fine, whatever, it's sap. It's not worth fighting. Oh, wait. This is the wrong area. Maybe I should pay attention to my map. Yeah, hey, look at that. It even says that that's the Nabarius Deadlands. That's not where we were going at all. Where are we going? Buttons, please. Thank you. Oh, shit. We're going way the wrong way. Well, I'm an idiot. But that's okay. Happens to the best of us sometimes. Ah, that bridge is really long. Like, look how much area that gets rid of. Oh, I'm sorry, Pinello's MP. Taking quite the beating. But soon everything will be alright. There we go. Alright, now let's head to the right direction. If I can figure out what that is. Ooh, more kings. It's not very nice. It's not very kingly to be beating up on a woman. Unless we're talking, what was it? King Henry... It was King Henry, right? The one that killed most of his wives. Imprisoned some in the Tower of London, I want to say. Oop, wrong way. Pretty much constantly wrong way. That's fine. It's fine. We'll get there in the end. And we'll get a whole bunch of succulent fruits along the way, apparently. Which I'm okay with that. They're worth a fair amount of money. Why they're not also a healing item, I don't get, though. That's the perfect instance to cross that over for a healing item that heals, you know, a fair amount of, but not as good as like a real healing item, like a high potion or an X potion. All right. Let's see. So your Balthier does not have a... Alright, well we can kill the Mandraga. And we already knew we could kill the wolves. So that doesn't help us with anything. Oh, let's see if we can kill one of the frogs. Those guys I remember being kind of a pain in the ass. Mainly because I recall them having an F ton of hit points and the ability to cast regen. Although he didn't. Interesting. Come on. Silence doesn't prevent you from hitting. Alright, can we kill? Alright, well that's at least some damage. We're probably going to want to bring in... Fran, because she has a setup to fight those. Well, at least they're on level now, so that's good. Apparently being silent really does make you less likely to hit. I mean, I know that's not actually what's going on. It's that these enemies have just much higher stats than the last group we were fighting, so... Come on, Balthier. You got it. Good man. Ho ho! That hurt a lot. Damn. A leather gorget. So we know that Balthier's dad is Sid and went crazy with the power of Nethicite. He probably corrupted Vayne with the amount of power that he was able to wield. I don't remember enough of the storyline that I still feel okay speculating. Shit. Oh, there's two of them. That's why. Come on. Come on, guys. You got this. You don't get experience if it kamikazes. You're not going to kill it, Pinello, if you keep healing. This is a... God damn it. A classic situation, and for any Magic player, life is great. It doesn't win you the game. But I always intended for Balthier to have a gun, but guns are not great. Yeah, so how is... How is 30 damage supposed to compete with the sword, a legendary sword, in terms of damage? Also, why can Balthier wield that? A cluster of frog spawn. That sounds simultaneously gross and probably worth a lot of money. Come on. Come on, Balthier. Currently the only one really fighting. Ooh, we got a bent staff. Heck yeah. Christ. Oh, hey, buddy. Head on through if you like, but you won't get anywhere if not on a chocobo. Oh, I did not know that, actually. That... I don't think I've ever noticed whether or not the guns miss, but when you bring that up now, I think you're right. I don't think I've ever seen a shot miss. That is actually a trade-off that I'm willing to take. Lesser damage, but always hit. Also, having the silence status effect from early on is really nice. Also, being one of the few weapons that can routinely attack flying targets is also a help. Let's see here, what is there? There's, once you get telekinesis, any weapon, and then bows, magic guns, and crossbows are the primary weapons that can hit. I mean, throwing magic in there's kind of cheating, because, I mean, it's magic, but still. So, in this area, at least for now, we want to be fighting these Begali, because they have the potential to drop bent staves, which are worth like 1,000, almost straight up. And I don't recall any other enemy in this area having, that is easily farmable, having much of anything worth selling. I mean, of course, there's always something. Like, you want to collect as many materials as possible. Primarily for the purposes of bazaar items. Because the packages that you get from bazaar are almost always worth it. In fact, I'm having a hard time coming up with an immediate instance where they're not. Like, if you already have 100 of the item, like the potions or the Phoenix Downs. But then you just don't buy it until you've used a bunch. Oh, and they can drop teleport stones. Yeah, they are definitely what you want to farm. Anything that can drop a teleport stone in my book is worth farming. A bundle of feathers, it's fine, I guess. I thought they were gonna try and gang up on me there for a moment. Alright, Wolvies. Come here. You've got quality pelts, which is something. Oh. Hey, look at that. Oh, shit.
I can't.
Well. Hey, Fran. Well, now that you've doomed us, Fran, you have to be the one to save the day. Come on, just kill it. Thank you. Well, that was really dumb of me. I? You're trying to say hi? Hey, Pinello, welcome back to the team. You're in charge again. It's fine. I personally am a gun owner, and I make fun of gun owners all the time, because a large number of us need to be made fun of. Especially a large number of American gun owners need to be made fun of, because the extremes that they go to justify what they have is oftentimes ridiculous. Me and my friends like to call it the fantasy attack scenario, which is like, you know, what if some maniac comes charging at me with a gun or a knife? I'll draw and shoot him, right? If someone comes charging at you from somewhere, they always claim, like, at the parking lot or something like that, too. It's like, okay, if someone comes charging at you in a parking lot with a knife or a gun, get in your car and drive away. And then call the police. Who cares about your groceries when your life is on the line, potentially? If that's the way you want to think about it. And a lot of them will concoct, like, oddly specific and wildly bizarre scenarios to try and justify, like, carrying giant hand cannons. So I don't own a carry pistol yet, although I have my carry permit. Although I have a service pistol. I own a hunting rifle. I own a shotgun. I have just about everything that I could want for a gun. I kind of want this just because it's the Goku pole. And that Francesca is really powerful. Oh, hey, a new gun. And a halberd. Armor. That's right. Okay, 2 adamant vests. So we need 6,000. 22,000. 34,000, 35,000. Damn. $35,000. 42,000. 48,000. I am not. I have not touched anything Dragon Ball since Budokai 3? Was that the last anything that I touched of Dragon Ball? No, that's not true. A couple years ago, one of my housemates had never seen Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z. I kind of forced him, like, I just watched it on my own, original Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, but I made sure to watch it at times when he was more likely to be home, so that he would watch some of it as well. And he did. He hung out and watched a lot of Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, and he kind of got it after that. But no, I've not been keeping up with Dragon Ball Super. I don't have Fighter Z, although I really want Fighter Z. So, Dragon Ball Super is the one that takes place in between Z and GT, right? With the blue Super Saiyan. Before the ending of Z. Okay, so this has nothing to do with Final Fantasy, but I'm going to go on a diatribe on why I have watched and haven't watched certain things in anime. This is mainly going to pertain to both Dragon Ball and Gundam. Good. First off, that is correct, in my opinion. However, there's more than just that. Everything after the Cell Saga in Dragon Ball does not exist. It was not made by Akira Toriyama. It does not have his stamp of approval on it. Everything beyond the Cell Saga, or the Cell games, in Dragon Ball's storyline didn't happen. None of Majin Buu, none of the World Tournament, none of the other World Tournament. Now, this personally extends also into, although much less closely tied, into the world of Gundam, where there is a unified set of Gundam called the Universal Century. That is everything that took place with Amuro and Char in the original Gundam. And then it has its own number of sequels that all take place within the same continuity. I am a huge fan of all of these. But there have also been just tons of other Gundams, like Gundam Z, Gundam G, or G Gundam, Gundam Seed, or Unicorn is technically in the Universal Century. Although I'm not sure how, because I haven't watched it. I do not care for any of those other expansions into the Gundam world. Like, they're interesting. Some of them are very fun. but they don't have that shared continuity, that shared world that all the stuff in the Universal Century does. That's not to say that I'm not necessarily going to watch those things. Like, I'll probably catch Dragon Ball Super at some point. It's just not high on my priority list. Just like GT was never high on my priority list, though I eventually ended up catching a couple episodes here and there. Nope. I mean, maybe in America. But 40 years, almost, separate Gundam and Gundam Wing. No, not 40. 30. Almost 30 years. And this weird, like, continuity thing that I have when it comes to anime all stems from one particular animator, animation team, under the direction of Leiji Matsumoto, who is the director behind Queen Emeraldus, Galaxy Express 39, Battleship Yamamoto, Captain Harlock, DNA Sites, and the ever-loved music video Interstellar 555. All of which are a single continuity. Including Interstellar 555, which turns out is only just a kid's dream. So that kid's dream is into the same continuity as Galaxy Express 39 and all the other super awesome space opera stuff that he did. I could have swore there was a treasure right here. Okay, I'm losing my mind. I am seeing treasure where there is none. Yes, you are seeing that correctly. That is a T-Rex shark. An Archaeosaur, according to Libra. Kill the Silver Lobo, please, so we can get on to fighting the Archaeosaur. Okay. Now let's fight this big bad dino, who's apparently silenced. Nice. Apparently Sonic Fang is not a spell. Nice. Oh, and that coincided with Pinello's level 40. Perfect. I'm not going to deny that my thing with anime is kind of weird. My weird love-hate relationship with anime. Because I also love, like, Sailor Moon. I love that shit. And I don't know why. It's not really all that good. Neither is the first original Gundam series. Mobile Suit Gundam is kind of trash. Especially compared to... but, like, there's a lot of, like, trash beginnings to some of these great epic things. Like, original Dragon Ball was an allegory for the Cold War. At least the latter half. I never got into Yu-Gi-Oh! Until way too late. And then I only got into the manga. And only a couple of very early issues like really got me. Because they were like actually kind of disturbingly dark. For what turns out to be a kids show. But then once they started getting into the little miniatures game that Yugi first started playing against Kaiba, and then into the card game, that's where they lost my interest. And from what I understand, it's actually a fairly decent card game. I never really got into it. I was into Magic. I also played the very, very, very brief Gundam card game. And I played the hell out of the Dragon Ball Z card game. I played a lot of Dragon Ball Z card game. It was really good. And I don't want to say they ruined it, but it wasn't the same when they ran out of Dragon Ball Z stuff and went into Dragon Ball GT. And then, because it wasn't the same, a lot of people got out of the game and stopped playing it. And then, you know, the market crashed on it and it failed and went away. And then a few years ago, someone else bought the rights to it and started producing a newer version of it that, from my understanding, is pretty good. Oh, and Digimon? Seasons 1 and 2, or is it Seasons 1 and 2? Yeah, Seasons 1 and 2, which are all about the original team, I love. Season 3, with the eggs, I think is okay. And then there's a 4th season, right? I don't know. Alright, so we can kind of tangle with some of the big bads of this area. I mean, obviously we haven't run into too many of the unique, like the rare enemies, and we haven't done any hunts in quite a while, actually. But the fact that we can fight this Dino Shark, which totally sounds like it should be a oh god, what is it? A Decepticon from Beast Wars. But for some reason is not. There's a deep cut for you. Actually, so I remember the first time I ever saw Sailor Moon. It was on USA at like 3 a.m. on a Saturday or something like that. And I just was awake, so I started watching TV at the age of like 10. And I remember thinking, what the hell is this? It looks a lot like Voltron, except it's not. And that was the only episode I caught forever until Toonami, where I then religiously watched every episode of Sailor Moon and Dragon Ball Z. I recorded every single one of them and would watch because they were on when I was at school, and would watch them when I got home. Big O, freaking amazing. My only problem with Big O is I wish they had used different voice talent. It's fine. It's not amazing. It is one of those shows that if I don't actively recommend Dragon Ball Z to people. I only recommend it if they want to know what the big deal is. Like, if they want to, like, why does everybody love Dragon Ball Z? Well, like, I've had people ask me, like, what's the big deal with Dragon Ball Z? I know you've watched it. What's it about? My explanation is, it's an experience that can't really be explained. Because it's not particularly, like, well animated until much later on. The writing's kind of choppy. But somehow it all comes together and works. And it's definitely designed for young boys, just in the same way like G.I. Joe or He-Man is designed for young boys. And if you really want to know, check it out. It's not going to blow your mind. It's not going to change your opinion on anything. And if you're not a huge fan of anime, it's certainly not going to change your opinion on anime. But if you already like anime, and you already kind of like the aesthetic of, like, action martial arts animes, watch it. That's my biggest recommendation for it. Is if you're already inclined to like that sort of thing, like if you're really into like Shaw Brothers films and kind of like cheesy martial arts action movies and TV shows, give it a shot. You'll probably like it. The biggest thing about it, the reason why it's such a big deal, is because of what it did. Anime was niche in America for a very long time, like 20 years. It was niche. Even when I was growing up, it was still pretty niche. But Dragon Ball Z made it not so niche. It made anime not a weird thing that only nerds watch. Same thing with Sailor Moon. They both did a lot for the American audience's perception of anime. Because before those shows, one of the biggest things to happen in anime was a little show called Oh My Goddess, which is just kind of a slice of life harem show. There's a million of them. There's Tenchi, there's Love Hina, there's a million of his things. There are a dime a dozen. But that came in America initially in a time when people were not okay with this anime thing. And there actually had to be passed a law at the United States Supreme Court, passed a law that allowed anime effectively to exist in America. Because that show depicted underage women in provocative clothing, it was ridiculed as child pornography. And a number of distributors in America got sued for distributing child pornography. And they fought it all the way up to the United States Supreme Court, where they won. I can't remember which distribution company it was, but they won, citing... And the reason they won is because the citation came down to, they're not real people. So even if they are in provocative clothing, they don't actually exist. Now, we have a much better cultural idea of what anime is, so we can actually just say, like, no, that's a cultural thing. They're trying to signify a different culture and what that really means. But it's the history of anime in America is a very interesting thing. If you want to dig deep into it, it goes back all the way to like the early 60s with Astro Boy. And it's really intellectually stimulating, although not particularly like an amazing story. It's really dry for the most part. Like, that's the most interesting thing is that Supreme Court case. Anyway, I would like to thank you guys for coming and hanging out with me. Before we get into more of the thank yous, I would like to throw this out there. That is my link to Humble. If you're interested in purchasing anything that has come out recently, or any of the Humble bundles, or signing up for Humble monthly, please use my affiliate link there. Not only will you be able to get yourself some awesome games over at the Humble store, but you'll be supporting charities and the channel. Right now we're working towards getting some improved lighting, and all of the proceeds from any of the sales that we earn will go towards that. Also, we are currently at 48 followers. Once we reach that goal of 50 followers, as I mentioned earlier, I would elaborate, we're going to have ourselves a bonus stream and giveaway where I will be playing Telltale's The Walking Dead: A New Frontier on a Saturday, as well as giving away a copy of Telltale's Walking Dead: A New Frontier, and a personal favorite game of mine, Psychonauts, as well as these 3 $20 Steam gift cards. You know, unfortunately, the game codes that I have are also for Steam, so that is the only way that I can really give things out at this time, although I'm looking into other ways of giving out prizes for those of you who are primarily on console. So look forward to that in the future. But we need to hit that goal of 50 followers first. So if you guys who are new want to follow, that would be fantastic. Or if you know some people that might be interested in what we're doing here, taking a critical look at a whole bunch of gaming franchises, starting with Final Fantasy, bring them on over, and I'll do my best to keep them here. Now, for the thanks, I not only want to thank each and every one of you for coming and just hanging out, but I especially want to call out Mr. Henry, Ro, Grim Reaper, Twan, and that is everybody that participated in chat. Thank you guys very much for participating tonight. I wouldn't be continuing to do this without you guys. I came back and did Final Fantasy III last July, and if there weren't you guys here watching, I wouldn't have continued on with this. So thank you very much. This has not only become a hobby, but this is something that I look forward to each and every day. So much so that every day when I get up and go to work, once I am there for like half my day, all I want to do is come home and stream. I don't want to stay there. But thank you guys for coming out and joining me tonight. We'll continue on with more Final Fantasy XII tomorrow, starting at 7 p.m. and going to 9 p.m. So if you feel like joining us again, that is our time slot, Monday through Friday. I hope you guys have a wonderful night, and I hope to see you here tomorrow. Good night.